There's one stock that is about to explode. It is a software stock. And as crazy it is to say, software is not as hot as it was. Right now, AI stocks are the most explosive. This stock ticker is SNOW, Snowflake, and they're transforming into an AI stock in a sense by partnering with Anthropic, which makes Claude, which is in the top 3 LLMs next to ChatGPT and maybe Gemini and maybe Meta's AI and Perplexity, somewhere in that mix. That partnership with Anthropic brings them into the AI conversation in a big way. They already were there, really. They're a data lake. I'm not giving them as much credit. They're helping support machine learning services, AI services already. So let's jump into where the stock is stock price-wise and also how that partnership developed and why they're a good buy now.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So here is the info about the stock. It's a cloud-based data platform. Okay, it's data science was the buzzword 8 years ago, or 20 years ago, depending on where you're at. And then machine learning became that buzzword. And now it's LLMs, at least in the public eye. Snowflake does it all, really. But they're basically the data lake where enterprises can keep all their data, store it, and then run the science, quote unquote science, run the algorithms on that data. And then, so those are the computations, and then store the data, store the outputs, give that outputs to decision makers, and do analytics on it. So UiPath is their one partnership. That's a big deal in terms of UiPath being a big company. This has not been a great stock performance, but this is a massive company. So huge name in software. Snowflake is also a huge name in software. And although software stocks sort of haven't been doing as well, they haven't gone away. I mean, this is basically the core of everything that sort of ChatGPT was born out of. This is a data warehousing and throughput service that's highly recognized widely. And yeah, these guys are a huge name as well. Google itself has a similar service. Amazon does as well. Azure, this is what ChatGPT is training on. Oracle as well. I mean, all the big companies have data lakes. I mean, they're computers. Like, we don't have to really harp on what the heck's going on here. But what we do want to know and want to make sure we know is we get that it's in the same breath as all these companies, but what we need to know is why is it a better buy than those companies? And this has to be why. So this is in August. They partnered with Anthropic. So you can use Anthropic's LLMs within Snowflake's platform. So that's a big deal because a lot of enterprises, you know, they want the ChatGPT experience. They want to offer that within their company and then also to their customers in some cases. They have a bunch of data. They don't know what to do with it. So they hired all these data scientists, all these analytics people, all these AI people. And now it's like, okay, our data's still a mess. Now we have to clean all the data. So you hear about these companies like Scale AI, like labeling all the data manually. And you need to move all the data as well. So that's where Snowflake comes in and they make all this actually happen. All the connections happen where you have, if you don't have good data, you don't have good outputs. And you can say, well, you know, ChatGPT has all the data, so who cares about these other companies? It's like, well, not really. ChatGPT is just scraping the internet, which doesn't actually have data that's important to big companies. Think like Visa, you know, like Capital One, like data points on hundreds of millions of Americans that make credit decisions. Snowflake has customers like that. So this is a big deal. The revenue getting raised, forecast raised up to 3-4 billion. And they did get this overweight rating. I'm not saying that these analyst upgrades always mean something, but Wedbush is recognized. Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to check in on as well. So software has been not super hot. I mean, think about ServiceNow and CRM, Salesforce. So ServiceNow had a rough earnings reaction, still rolling over, even though it bounced back a little bit. And software, CRM, Salesforce software has been going down for a while now. Really didn't rebound much at all, even after the tariff jump. So, I mean, HubSpot as well. Software has just been getting crushed because all these AI companies have been sort of leading the day. Meta, Google, NVIDIA, absolutely owning. Even there are some software companies, AppLovin, which does advertising, which has been sort of spared from the AI onslaught. But this company was sort of waiting for, I think, some type of news that keeps it in the conversation. I mean, it has been following those stocks to some extent, but the Anthropic news partnership, I believe, is pretty significant. Obviously, the earnings were good as well. The reaction was good as well. But I'm going to stop just yapping about, pretending like I'm a software engineering, thought leader, and just say, look, this chart is shaping up. This is why it was sort of visible in the first place. And then the question becomes, where do you want to buy it? Well, you want to buy a chart where maybe this bounces back a little bit and you can risk a few dollars. You risk a line like here, going back to late July. And if you risk a couple dollars, then you try to make $20, $30. And if you get another burst like here, or like here, or like here, or even like here, I'm giving bursts that are also not directly after earnings, then you sell 10% up. You sell 50% of your position and you hold the rest. And then even after you get a 10% burst, say it's from here, you hold the rest, you can be up significantly. Maybe you get 10% up here and you have to sell when you come back to your average, whatever. You still locked some in. So that's the name of the game. That's basically the technical line. There's going to be another important line a little above where we're at here, 236, going all the way back to March of 2021. 2022 was horrible for all stocks. Snowflake was no exception. 2021 was pretty euphoric for a lot of software stocks as well as startups. Snowflake is further along in that conversation, but now we're getting back to an important level and saying, is this going to have another run like it had in 2021? And it looks like it could. So 236 is an important level, and we're pretty close to that level. So if you can buy, risk a few dollars, that's the name of the game. If you get shaken out, you get shaken out. The best hedge funds are wrong 45% of the time, sometimes more than that actually, like 60 or 70% of the time. But the wins outweigh getting stopped out for a few dollars. So that's the chart. We've sort of speculated about what they do. I'm not really speculating. I pretty much know what they do, but I'm trying to make sure we talk about the AI aspect because that is what's going to drive their market movement, in my opinion. Generative AI seems like it kind of not as exciting to a lot of companies aside from the LLMs. So Anthropic's going to be the big partnership, and Anthropic is valued at a couple $100 billion. So that is the use case. Here's sort of a use case in particular, just decreasing software deployment. So they basically are, a B2B company. They're helping software development teams do things faster in production and spend less money. Okay, so that's great. I mean, they're right in the thick of this AI wave, and this is what I'm trying to sort of nail down is they do the warehousing, the analytics. Databricks does analytics more specifically on Apache Spark. I think Databricks is a little bit smaller of a company, but we can sort of take a look at where they're at here. Yeah, it's a $30 stock, so it also doesn't look great. Snowflake is the juggernaut in comparison, and also this is yeah, Salesforce. We've already looked. That was down a lot, and they're like have a lot of small businesses. No, HubSpot has a small business. Salesforce has it's like an Oracle for, you know, we know what Salesforce is. They've had great customer retention, great annual contracts, blah, 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 but they're not really what you think of when you think of an AI company. You kind of think of like an AI company disrupting the entire CRM software. So I can see why they're not super attractive to sort of like Wall Street heads, which is what we want to cater to because they operate a lot of the big funds, right? Here's the deal. Perplexity's in the conversation as well. They're an independent company. They have the 20 billion valuation, and then 10 times that is the Anthropic valuation. So that's a big deal. It's less than the 500 billion. We do kind of want to keep these valuations in the back of our head because these companies that are private, Anthropic, OpenAI, have so many deals done with the publicly traded tickers. And then there was speculation that Zuckerberg bought a stake of either Anthropic or Perplexity through a sort of vehicle that is not Meta, like his personal or, you know, family office venture fund or the like. So all this to say, Snow is in the mix of all these big names and all these big companies. Those are the levels to buy it at. And if you like these type of videos, head over to stockscommunity.com. Try it out for 7 days for $25. See if you get all your questions answered. I can answer a lot of your questions. If there's any verbiage in this video that's related to, you know, moving averages, tickers, exchanges, I can give my best answers for you. $25 is not a lot. It's just a trial. And if you like these videos, hit that subscribe button so you get notified when new ones come out. And you only get 3 notifications a day, so don't worry if there's more videos. See you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.